Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
All right. Here we are. We are live. We are live with Don Worth, Dr. Bob Weil,
No, Weil.
fitness
Weil.
guru.
His name is Dr. Bob Weil.
Dr. Bob Weil. I'm sorry. Did I say wheel? I meant Weil.
Yes.
I meant
This way,
wheels
I
in the
include
sky.
you in all those
Keep on
people
turning.
I grew up with, Liam.
What's that?
I said I include
What's
you
that
in
again?
all the people I grew up with the idea of whether
Yes.
it's Wheel a while. You know, radio guests, I got to make sure I can pronounce their names.
But I got your name down here correctly, right?
Yeah, you do. Weil.
Yeah, so, yeah, wow. Just took me a while to get it. All
That's the
right.
hook. You got it.
So, we're going to be talking sports. We're going to be talking into Bob's just amazing history. But first, Don and I were at this conference, okay? And so we're talking about a new Chicago. The Bulls, the Bears, Obama, Jordan, the house music, jazz, blues. We just like our ridiculous when it comes to innovation, and like we gave the world its soundtrack, and now we are changing the face of energy. Don, you want to talk about it just a second? We'll play a video, then we'll get to the interview.
Well, let's just say this. We are at the championship. Let's just say this. The championship event. It's live.
Championship window.
We got it. And last night, CEO Michael Falquist just went it bullet point by bullet point to keep it simple, easy, and understandable. And why, fortunately for our legislatures in Illinois, it's making everything sense. And that's why we are launching in Illinois, because no other state has come this far so fast. And it's prime time since the 10th. And we already had some success.
It's prime time, baby. And so we are going to play a little video to show you what's up, and then we're going to get to the interview. Let's rock and roll.
The lights flicker. The fridge goes quiet. The kid's nightlight blinks out. And for a second, your whole house holds its breath. Just the hum of a neighborhood that's gone dark. If you've been there, you know it isn't just an inconvenience. It's the food in the fridge, the work on your laptop, the child who can't sleep without the fan. And it's not getting better.
Excessive heat means more strain on power grids.
4,300 people are without electricity right now.
The grid we all depend on was built for a different era, long before AI data centers, electric vehicles, and millions of connected devices began competing for power. But what if your home just didn't notice? At Energy Well, we believe your home should keep running no matter what's happening on the grid. Energy Well installs a professional-grade home battery system at your home, with no upfront cost and no installation fee. When the grid goes down, your home switches to battery power automatically. Most people don't even notice it happened. Powerful enough to keep your whole home running. The AC, the garage door, the fridge. And here's what makes Energy Well different. Your battery becomes part of a virtual power plant. Thousands of homes working together to help balance the grid. We manage everything automatically behind the scenes. That coordination allows us to offer something most energy providers can't. With Energy Well, you lock in a rate that's guaranteed to beat what ComEd charges. Not just today, but every time your term renews. You only pay for the electricity you actually use. The work the battery does on the grid, that's on us. No generators, no gas cans, no scrambling in the dark, just your home. Still on. The outages aren't going away, but you don't have to wait for the grid to catch up. Energy well. Energy connected.
All right, gentlemen, repeat after me. Good, better, how does it go?
Good,
Better, best.
That's the Bears.
When your good gets better. Yeah, how does that go? I just lost it.
Good, better, best. And you
Well,
had,
you guys,
When your good gets better.
Yes, you have to figure it out. Well, I'll look it up under the Super Bowl shuffle for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good, better, best. Good, better,
Yes.
best. When your good gets better, your better gets best. Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3. Anyways, but yeah, we're doing it, man. We're doing it.
That was an impressive
Leaders in the world.
presentation. Yes. Well, the Bears.
Thank you.
Chicago. I try to brag about my New York accent, of course, but I've been in Chicago like 50-something years, give or take a few weeks. So I hear you with your Midwest accent. Very impressive.
You hear us with the.
Very impressive video, Don.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And what we want to do is we want to remove this share screen, and we're going to add to stage, and we're going to talk about Dr. Bob's amazing history. He's got so many stories and so many Chicago stories just behind the stages there. We were talking about what his history has been. So Bob has a radio show. How many years?
I've been involved for like 45 years on live radio in one regard or another, including 20 years with the College of DuPage's great blues jazz station, WKDC. I think then my show came on after the Lawnmower Show, Liam.
I love that College of DuPage jazz radio.
Great
They
station,
just play the
yes.
best music all day. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yes. But my show
And so
is
you were
called The
DJing?
Sports Doc. Yes, no, my show is called The Sports Doctor. I'm a sports podiatrist, foot specialist, and my show for a long, long time has dealt with everything from, again, the physical side of health and wellness and sports performance and high-level sports. One of my greatest stories is I was on the line at Jewel in the late 70s in Glen Ellen, Illinois, and I was behind a young lady with a warm-up suit that said Sports Fitness Institute, a group that just opened in the same shopping center. I said, "What is it?" She said, "Come on over." Her husband, Bob Guida, former Mr. America, Mr. Universe, was dealing with a sports enhancement facility. And we were married in the professions for 40 years after that. People came to Bob for recuperating injuries, for enhancing performance. So the Walter Paytons, the Jim McMahons, the John McEnroes were the kinds of athletes who wanted to either seek treatment or supervision. And that's one of my great stories. And the health and wellness area, we talk concussions, we talk about parenting, and the youth athletics is a very, very big topic. And so is health and wellness, Liam. And that's why clean energy is an important addition of things that I will include in many of my guests or topics when, again, we're talking about the area of health and wellness. These are big areas today. The word biohacking, the terms anti-aging, functional medicine are all big, big topics today in our crazy healthcare system. So we try to be as helpful as possible, whether I'm talking about what's the best shoe for your young daughter, or I'm talking about what's the best shoe for your super senior grandfather.
Outstanding. And Don, you were living in the East Coast for a while. Were you here during the '85 Bears season?
Yes, I was. In fact, I actually was working in the Loop at the time for Pitney Bowes, a small little company that took care of mailing products. a good friend of mine and I were at the Daily Center when the bus came and the Bears came and all that good stuff. It was as cold as ever, but the thing is, I was there, and it was the blast. These guys they just stayed right where they were. They never got off the bus because it was too cold. But some of the guys were on top of the bus. It was so cool, and I got to meet one of the best announcers of all times, and he was a good friend of Dick. He used to have a live show, and let's just say this: it was
Ditka was one of my guests. We had when Bob Guida got me involved in the radio world. We were in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
Yes,
with Dick Chase, who was a Hall of Fame high school coach, and he had Ditka as an occasional guest. And again, Guida was a treat. Seeing Gary Fensick, Guida did all of Jim McMahon's shoulder rehab. So we really got very, very involved in the 1992 President's Council on Physical Fitness, and being very involved in that whole world. And I told you, one of my great stories, Leon, is 5 of the different Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl Shuffle were wearing my orthotics. I don't age myself too much, man. But again, the whole role of mechanics and alignment and body balance, or all of these things that Guida really innovated a long, long time ago, as did the late, great Gilad Jankowicz, who just passed away with Muscles and Bodies in Motion for 45 years from Hawaii. I always asked him how he got that gig. He was working out on TV out of Hawaii. But, it's hard to match the notoriety of the Super Bowl Bears. What an incredible story. Maybe the best team ever.
What a defense. What a defense.
Maybe the best team ever. All right, Don, are you ready for a picture that's going to make your mouth water? I just love this photo. Here we go. Dr. Bob and Jim McMahon, come on.
I'm giving him his orthotics.
You're giving him his orthotics right there?
Now, I'll tell you an even funnier story. On the wall at that time, which was when, McMahon, I'm talking to him about one of Guida's clinics, sports fitness. And on the wall is a picture of me and Tracy Austin. Tracy came to train with us in 1985. She came to see Bob Guida, trying to really get back her #1 in the world status. Tennis players weren't athletes then. They were tennis players, and Guida was all about the physical side. And when McMahon was talking to me, on the wall was a picture of me and Tracy Austin and I went to see McMahon in this picture in shorts and a T-shirt. They called me at the last minute if I can get to the clinic and meet him. So on the wall is a picture of me in the same shirt, but I'm with Tracy Austin. So when McMahon sends me a picture, if you read what it says, hey, thanks for everything and get a new shirt, he was making fun of the fact that I had the same shirt on that I was wearing with Tracy Austin. I never lived it down. Even though my friend McMahon doesn't really remember me today with what he's gone through, even though he's done well with the whole brain health and this whole concussion world. But, and I did get a new shirt.
That's outstanding. What an awesome story. So talk a little bit about Jim McMahon, because the horrible passing of Steve McMichael, that was just really difficult.
McMichael was one of the ones who wore my orthotics. Yes, and so was Dave Duerson. And that's what got me into the world of CTE and the whole concussion world, and why I've had experts on from all over the world talking about what has been a big problem, whether it is in the athlete not admitting he's got problems. I've had a school psychologist on this saying, Dr. Wall, you have no idea what's going on in high school with some of these players in collision sports. They're not sleeping, they're getting angry, they're having problems with this and problems with that. So these were all very, very big topics. But McMahon was somebody, again, who was doing all of his rehab, and with all the notoriety of McMahon that, what a clown this guy is, and he doesn't care about anything. I had a colleague whose son was suffering from a terminal brain cancer. And they brought his son to the clinic every week to work on balance. He was 13 years old. And Jim McMahon, who wore headbands that said diabetes and had some other things, spent all sorts of time with this young man, where I saw a whole other different side of him, what a great individual he was, paying attention to so many important causes. Yet at the same time, he said, "Hey, look, Doc, I like to play golf barefoot." You know, he was such a character, but he was very, very involved in a lot of different areas. He still is. And he was one of Gary Fensick never wouldn't have anybody else touch him but Bob Guida in his particular training. The same with Walter Payton, and Guida was very big on balance. You walked into Guida's clinic, there was 5 or 6 mini trams, hockey player balancing on one tram, swinging his hockey stick. A catcher may be balancing on the tram with his catcher's mitt playing catch, tennis players swinging rackets. And Guida, again, this is why we would say in the world of youth sports, all you sports parents out there, you got your pencils out, you want your young kids to strengthen their feet and ankles, and you want them to work on balance, and the same for weekend warriors. So these are some of the topics that we would talk about when it came to do the two things, Liam, everybody was interested in. Right? How can I prevent injuries? How can I prevent problems? And when indicated, how can I be 2 steps quicker? How can I be more explosive? And, I've been working with the world of figure skating for, decades. I just celebrated my latest gold medalist. I've been putting orthotics in figure skates for decades. And Don remembers, this is where I met Don, really, in 2010. The young Naperville kid, Evan Lysacek, was the men's Olympic gold medalist. I put orthotics in Evan's skates when he was like 9.5 or 10 years old, and from Naperville, Illinois. But this past, so we were celebrating the 16th year of when he won. And then in this year's Winter Olympics, Danny O'Shea, who was another teenager that we put orthotics in his skates, he was part of the gold medal Olympic team with pairs, throwing his partner up, doing triple jumps and whatever. He just celebrated his 35th birthday. So balance and stability is something that now, again, the world of pickleball, where we're talking about all you seniors who are out there. So this is what the Sports Doctor Radio show is all about. And many of my guest appearances, Liam, again, when we're talking about, again, how do I prevent problems and how do I enhance? And the more talented your son or daughter is, the more overkill is one of our biggest challenges. Too many games and too much scheduling and all of these kinds of challenges. And we pay big attention to youth sports when we're talking about things that are very, very important today for all you sports parents and grandparents out there.
And so if we want to tune in, where can we find the Sports Doctor Radio show?
Best place to go is if they go to thesportsdoctorradio.com, which is my site. They will find out all sorts of information. My show is live every Wednesday from 3 to 4, where we have 2 different guests. We have the Sports Doctors in segment, and then it's played everywhere. But if they go to that particular website, they could find out all sorts of information regarding when the show is, and they can go back on archives, and they might listen to Don Worth, I think, was one of my guests maybe a year or 2 ago, if they want to bring up his show. Or I just had on some of these different experts, again, in the world of sports psychology. And the late, great Jim Vickery, who had a couple of bullet points for sports parents, and he said, please don't be a critic, was one of his first points. Don't be analyzing your son or daughter's activity on the way home in the car. And number 2, again, be a good listener. So if they go to thesportsdoctorradio.com, they can find out all sorts of, including my induction, very proud induction in 2018 to the National Fitness Hall of Fame. Gosh, with the Jack LaLannes and the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and some of these other
We
great
need a
individuals. Thank
A
you.
round of applause for that. Sports Hall of Fame. Outstanding. And so we can catch you Wednesdays between 3 and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Is that
Yes,
correct?
they go anywhere with podcasts. Yes, and they will catch again. Last week I had on the great baby boomer guru Rick Bava, who has written for the Today's Senior magazine. We were talking about the challenges of pickleball, where you got all of these people jumping on the court. It's a physical. I wrote an article in 2020 called Pickleball is Physical. Nobody knew how to spell the word pickleball, but we had seniors, jumping on the court and getting injured. So at the same time, I had one of the leading biohackers, and biohacking is lifestyle medicine. And this has become a very, very big topic, anti-aging, functional medicine. And I have another very important point for you and all your listeners, Liam. It's called the new medicine. And number
The
one,
new medicine.
the new medicine. Keep it simple. Number one, eat smarter. We could talk all day about that. Be educated for your own nutrition. Number two, keep moving. I don't care what your choice is. You want to go to the gym, you want to do yoga, you want to be a runner, keep moving. The earlier the better. Number three is a biggie. Reduce stress. Work on your stress levels, your sleep and your recovery, etc. Again, eat smarter, keep moving, reduce stress, and really pay some self-attention to those kinds of rules. Every expert I ask, whether it's about childhood obesity or health, every expert I ask them, how we doing? And almost all of them roll their eyes. That we're making some progress, but man, between social media and now with the AI challenges and who can you believe and who can't you?
Right.
Again, the Wild West is a real challenge. And this is why, again, along with you, we want to be as pertinent as we could be about things that are very, very important for all of us. And if you have a son or daughters in sports, then you don't have much that's much more important than that. And if I were you, I would enjoy it as much as you can, because when it's over, it's over. Right, Don?
You're right. You're right. You're so correct.
So I've been asking the questions, Don. I'm going to shut up and I'll let you guys talk. Where did you meet? Where did you guys first meet each other?
Well, there was a big event in downtown Naperville, and it was at Sullivan's. And to make a long story short, here's Doc. He's driving up, and he had a convertible at the time. I can't remember which car he had, but the beauty about it is, I said, I got to meet this guy. He is the guy. I got to meet him. And so we met, and we got.
Well,
to know
we were
him.
meeting for the late great mayor.
Oh, that was
George
it.
Cradle,
Right.
with his top hat on. And we were all involved. The man had like a 95% approval rating in Naperville for years and years and years. And we found out we had a lot of mutual interest then, again, regarding what was going on. There's nobody more active in the world of not only Naperville, but, Don, who would do polar plunges for special causes. This is a guy who's involved in so many different philanthropic areas, and then he became a fan of the show. And of course, he was a big time a Bears and sports fan. And I would clue Don in maybe about who might be showing up at the clinic, or in one way or another, or what was going on. And when we had all this excitement as around that time with Lysacek. It's 2010. Again, and Evan is all of a sudden winning the Olympic gold medal. Holy cow, what incredible news. And by the way, everybody, I had Evan's mom on the radio show after the 2010 Olympics. And I asked his mom a question we talk about all the time with sports parents. I said, hey, Mom, how did you know whose goal it was? How did you know you weren't over pushing them? Like parents want their kids to live their life, especially if they were athletes. And she said, Dr. Bob, I'll tell you, we had ice time at 6:15 in the morning, and I never had to wake the kid up. He was always in the car with his gloves on. I said, what a great story that was. So, yeah, that was a big part of, again, Don being involved in so many different areas. How long, Don, have you been doing polar plunges?
I started in 2015, but guess when I first saw it? I saw it in 2014 on the TV and social media.
Yeah, Special Olympics. Was it Special Olympics?
Huh?
Was it for Special Olympics?
Yeah. Well, here's what happened. I had actually gotten involved with Special Olympics, volunteering at events. And I said, you know what? I said, I just saw a replay of when I can't remember which of the guys out in, who replaced Johnny Carson was out there. But anyway, Mayor Ron.
Jay Leno, maybe? Jay Leno? Was it Jay Leno?
After him. Huh?
Right.
But anyway, the long and short of it is, here's what happened. He says, and this is Rahm Emanuel. He goes and he says, you know what? I'm on your show. You're coming to my show. My show is the first Sunday of March, and you're coming. Well, guess what? He came, and I'm talking about, oh my gosh, I can just remember. But, he's still around. And he
he is a big.
This guy has a suit on and everything, and he goes into Lake Michigan, and it was like so cool. Now this was 2014. After I saw that, I said I got to do this, and it is the largest fundraiser in the state of Illinois, probably in the country, I think.
Now, usually isn't the plunge usually come? Man, this is in the middle of the winter, man.
Well,
right?
This is not it's not just called, it's the Special Olympics polar plunge. There's a million polar plunges that start on the 1st of January.
I was going to say, really, unique. Right? When it's 10 below zero, you got to cut the ice.
Well, I'll make a long story short. In 2019, Sherry Duffy and I, one of my special marketing friends that I've known for a number of years, goes in there with her bikini. Now this is 2019, and it's freezing. I mean, the water was 32, the air was 19, but she went in and then she comes out, but she went all the way in. So I jumped in too. At that time I had one of my sponsors, which is the Billy Goat Tavern shirt on. Right. And let's just say this, guys that sponsor me heavy, I do that. I also had New York Pizzeria here in Naperville sponsor me too. So I wear, in fact, sometimes this year, for instance, I wore both shirts. So in other words, I had one shirt underneath the other shirt to make sure it got credit.
Now, again, on the physical side of the Special Olympics, we've been involved for years and years, again, on the physical side, including, again, things I just talked about, which is strengthening and working on balance and being, again, very, very careful about, sometimes people don't realize when you see a teenager or a very early 20s athlete in the Olympics, they've been doing it since they're 10.
Right.
And many times this is not for everybody. And this is one of the challenges that we have, again, whether it is against something like the Special Olympics or it happens to be some of the shows we've done, again, on the world of bullying. And the number one reason for bullying is still obesity, is overweight with kids. And number two is disability. So again, these causes, which have always been things that you've helped out with, I think are very, very important to take part in. Naperville, Illinois, big sports town.
Oh,
big
absolutely.
Sports town in so many different ways. Naperville, Illinois, a town that's considered the number one place to live in different contests. It's considered the number one place to raise children. I mean, it's really a very, very special place. And this is why, what got me together with Mayor George Pradle, again, was that Naperville was a big fitness and health and fitness town. And we would pay. I used to have the great athletic trainer from Naperville Central High School, Bill Hughes, who was a famous Santa Claus. Yes, Bill is a very famous Santa Claus. Has a real
I
beard.
know. And I want to
very,
can I
very
tell you a
famous
story
Santa
about
Claus.
Bill? I'm going to tell a story if I can.
Go.
In my daughter's junior year, they're putting on this beautiful new field turf. And she has state-of-the-art grass shoes now. I don't understand why no one noticed that when she got on that new field turf that she had the wrong shoes. To make a long story short, Deanne does a cut for tryouts. Pop. She ripped that ACL. Now, Deanne and 5 of her high school friends that she grew up with all ripped their knees that year because, whether you know it or not, the Achilles tendon is like the ankles are for guys. And what can I say? But I'm going to just say this. Bill Hughes saw and he heard the pop. And what he said to Deanne is, well, first of all, he's iced her up real fast. He says, you're going to have to call your daddy and you have to see an orthopedic surgeon tomorrow. And that's what we did.
Yes. Well, I got news for you. When you talk about 50, I'm a foot specialist, everybody. Again, 50% of the girls and women I've seen over the years in knee trouble. Did you hear me, everybody?
Yeah.
The wider hips of girls, different angle down to the knee. Foot mechanics becomes a very, very important topic when we're talking about that. Bill Hughes was one of the reasons we had him on over the many years. But he was more famous for being a Santa Claus with his real beard, where he was part of the the Santa Claus industry. We just had a show. I have where I pop in on different podcasts. It's called The Sports Doctors In, and I was on British Columbia's Run With It. I've been with them about 7 years. I show up once a month, and we were talking about cleats and artificial surface. And we were talking about, to this day, what a topic it is. And for instance, one of the biggest top problems we have in youngsters is heel growth center inflammation. And soccer has 10-year-olds in soccer shoes with cleats under the heels. So sometimes we got all of these different educational challenges, again, when we're dealing with youngsters in sports. And we're excited. We've got a documentary coming out sometime in the next, 6 months. It's called Where Our Children Play and the Challenges of Youth Sports. Because of the differences we see, there is an epidemic, everybody, of overuse injuries in youth sports. 20% of Tommy John surgery is teenagers. What? So overkill is a very, very big topic. And this is something we talk about all the time. And I have a topic in my book. Again, the book is called #Hey Sports Parents. And the topic is called The Prodigy Sports. Everybody in sports medicine, Don, as you know, recommends that their son or daughter plays numerous sports to use different parts of the body, have different experiences. We all want that. That's great, unless your son or daughter's a gymnast or a figure skater, or even today a tennis player or a soccer player, where we have 10, 11-year-olds who are specializing very, very early. And there's lots of physical and mental stresses on these kids. And we want to pay attention to the fact that, number one, this topic exists, where, again, you have kids who are skating 10 days a week and doing double jumps already as 10-year-olds. And we might have overzealous parents. So this is one of the reasons we made a big deal out of the topic, #Hey Sports Parents, in the documentary, is we want parents to understand that overkill is a very big topic. And so it is with adults, Don. I call it the terrible twos. You're doing too much. You're too aggressive. Maybe you're doing it too soon. And all of a sudden your back hurts and your knees hurt and your hips hurt because you're on the pickleball court and you don't understand that you got to train for it.
Right.
So these are a lot of these different topics. You always had interest in a lot of these different ones yourself. You've always been a guy who's been active. You're a walker, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'll make a long story short. When I went to Indiana State, I was there when Larry Bird was there.
Oh,
and
wow.
And Tunchi Ilkin, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what happened is a week before the spring game, we had worked on this one gentleman who was an outside linebacker, and he wanted to impress the coaches that he was ready. So he went down full blast and had a perfect tackle. Unfortunately, he was off an inch, and in a split second, his body went bam right on the field turf. And the next thing I see is this gentleman on a board, thanks to, of course, the emergency guys. But the sad thing is, I see this 240 All-American guy now a quadriplegic.
Yes.
In September.
Hey, look, Steve McMichael with Lou Gehrig's and what he had gone through. Again, the athletic trainers are the magicians who deal with everything, again, from a very serious episode like you're mentioning, or minimum problems, simple problems. And again, today, where everybody is listening, every athlete today, serious athlete, is bigger, is faster, is stronger. The forces are multiplied, and we've got to pay attention to the rules. And I got to tell parents all the time, it's a chapter in the book. Again, there is no safe tackle football. It just isn't. If you're going to have collisions, then you got to be paying attention. This is why the education side of concussions is so important. We include it all the time. It's unfortunate that you experienced a catastrophe like that. But the other side is, boy, oh boy, you got to be around with Larry Bird. That had to be some exciting times with one of the greatest players ever.
What I really will say, he was a down-to-earth guy. And I saw the Celtics recruit him, which is even more amazing.
Yes.
And Red Auerbach says, sign that guy. And Bird said this too. He says, I could have come out, but I stayed, and he would never met Magic if it weren't for staying, in the game until he got out, which is his
Well, it's a different world. And this is before we could do another 12 shows on whether, and I was very, very much against any kind of gambling legalization in sports. Yeah. I knew we would be in big trouble with this, where fans can't be fans anymore. They're more interested in maybe what the line is in one situation or another. But today you're talking college sports. It's an upheaval. You've got transfer portals. You've got athletes being paid. And you now have one and gun. Do you know that the first 4 picks in the NBA draft 3-4 days ago were freshmen? Yes. You've got athletes. Here's a Bob Guida story. We're walking into a facility, Bo Jackson's facility, and we're going to go see some girl softball players. And we're listening to the crack of the bat before we get into the batting cage. And we're going, geez, who are these kids? We thought it was co-ed. All of a sudden, we took a look and we saw these girls. And you take a look, for instance, at the WNBA players, the women athletes. It's unbelievable. Again, what we're looking at, bigger, faster, stronger. So now, the areas of sports pharmacy. Sports pharmacy is a group I've had on the past couple of years. It didn't exist. Mm-hmm. Supplements and hormones and all of these other areas. Including not only youth sports, but you take a look at a professional team today, they got nutritionists, they've got hypnotherapists, they got sports psychologists, and they've got nutrition experts. Back in the day, that athlete had a hamburger and ran on the field. It's a whole different world. And still we're worrying about, you didn't have a pitcher in the majors who threw 100 miles an hour. Now you got 5 on every team. And you're wondering why we're looking at some of these arm problems and shoulder concerns, guys throwing 105 miles an hour. So it is a very exciting area in sports performance at all levels. We never run out of stories. And it's also great to mix in some nostalgia. And again, Don and I, when we got very excited about what was going on in Naperville, when we also saw that, Don's interest in the Special Olympics or the world of youth sports, and dealing with his own daughter who was in the world of occupational medicine.
Yeah, it's
you know,
amazing, you know?
yes. And when you're dealing with families, when you are dealing with coaches, and you're dealing with team owners, and I'm going to have Lee Steinberg on, I'm going to ask him about that next month. What are those pressures? You know, I've had on the team doctor of the Yankees, Dr. Chris Ahmad, and the great Chicago, Dr. Brian Cole with the Bulls and White Sox as guests. And I've asked them, what's it like with the pressure of, Doc, can you get me better tomorrow? You know, what about pain medicine? What about medical marijuana and some of these other areas? Tremendous topics. And this is why we like to reminisce many times and update ourselves on what happens to be going on in so many different areas. Right, Liam?
It's a fascinating.
Did we take up your whole show or what?
Oh no, I love it. I love it.
But I wanted to feature Doc because I've known him for years, and I'll tell you what, he's the most genuine guy I know, and I am wearing his wonderful orthotics. And I'll tell you what, they are
another commercial. Yes, I told Don we'd make him 2 steps quicker and add to his vertical leap, Liam.
Well, what's great about Dr. Bob is
when I walk around my neighborhood, the neighbors know me. They said, "Man, there he goes again."
Yeah, but he had a knee replacement again.
Yeah,
let me tell everybody on your show, Liam. Everybody's listening. This is very important. Any persistent, recurring lower extremity problem, your back, your knees, your hips and knees, it's either foot related or foot caused. Whether you have flat feet, whether you have high arches, the mechanics of the feet and ankles are very, very important. And many times, if that individual's feet don't hurt, there's not attention paid. I've had individuals who had knee surgery twice. No one ever saw them walking barefoot. It's nuts. So you want to pay attention, whether it's your kids, you, or your parents. If they've had joint problems, you want to include podiatry. You want to take into account foot mechanics. In my surgical career, I did bunion surgery on a 75-year-old grandma. I did bunion surgery on her 45-year-old daughter, and we were having bunion problems in the 14-year-old girl with shin splints. Foot mechanics is often inherited. Hammer toes, bunions, other foot mechanics. And so we want people to continue to pay much more attention to that when it comes to any physical activity. And we want people to be active. Heck, man, 80's the new 60, and 70's the new 50. People want to be active. They want to feel good. And, the replacement of joints, very, very common today. Very successful. But now you're seeing hip replacement, knee replacement in 40-year-olds. What are you, nuts? And many times, these gradual forces are foot-related. For example, 80% of shin splint problems in runners are foot-related. So orthotics, which are custom devices, which are made from the alignment of the foot ankle, and then one of the challenges is there's, orthotic stores, and you can order things online. You can get Dr. Scholl's, and you can use all sorts of inserts. But a custom prescription device is a different animal. And many parents and coaches will ask me, Liam and Don, will my son or daughter or my athlete, do they need orthotics? Great question. I will then say to them, let's ask if they would benefit. And almost always, when done properly, the answer is yes. And this is a big deal because in many instances, it's left out.
Well,
right,
Doc,
Uncle Don?
I remember coming to your office, and Patty goes to me and she says, let's see you walk. And then Doc's going to be in here, and Doc's looking at me walk. And in a matter of 15 minutes, bingo, they had custom designed.
Yes. I used to cast people's feet. I would do cast molds for years. We did Bob Guida was the strength and conditioning coach of the Olympic volleyball teams. So we were putting these guys in orthotics in the women's team and way back when, and we would be casting people. Now the technology, we can do a measurement for orthotics with a smartphone. Now, I can't tell you guys what a tough sell I was with that as well. You know, I'm using the same orthotics lab as I did 35 years ago. And so the science of orthotics is very, very important. And this is one of the things that we want people to understand. One of the reasons we might be wearing out our hips or knees is we're flat-footed. And again, not all flat feet hurt. You can be a champion athlete with flat feet. It's not always a weak link, but often it is. And this is when we do shows like yours, Liam, and we might be talking about great stories and a lot of other areas, but we also want to make a big deal out of things like what's called biomechanics and how does our body work. And when you're coming down for rebounds, when you're coming out of the batter's box, when you're coming down from a triple jump, if you ain't in alignment, and I want to show everybody the foot skeleton. Look at that big toe joint. That's the area that propels you forward. And if that area is over flexible or in the wrong position, like that development of the bunion deformity, then you're pushing off a loose foot. And it might be causing all sorts of problems where you're getting, again, calf cramps. Now, again, notice what's in the news. Don mentioned it. There's all sorts of Achilles tendon problems everywhere you look. And whatever happened to high tops, which we used to be paying big attention to.
You're right.
In basketball shoes. So,
I remember them well.
Again, And now
Chuck
remember,
Connors. I mean,
yes.
No, Chuck, well, not Chuck Connor, but they were, they were the old
Kobe.
Converse.
Well, Kobe had Achilles. Nobody came back from Achilles tendon ruptures 20, 30 years ago. Now, they all come back. And one of the biggest challenges is timing, trying to come back too soon. And, this is why, again, if you are a coach or let alone a coach of a professional team and you're dealing with a multi-million-dollar athlete, man, one of the contributors to my book, again, and hashtag Hey Sports Parents, is Robert Andrews. Robert Andrews is a mental coach, and he works with the mental side of recovering from injury, when an athlete might be seeing their career flash before their eyes. And he works with athletes. He's got a wall of gold medals because he dealt with the Olympic. He's got all these Olympic gymnasts, Simone Biles. And the good news is mentally, both Simone Biles and Michael Phelps, two of the most popular athletes in the world, talked about their mental challenges after the Olympics. And this took a lot of stigma off that mental side. You still got a big stigma of kids, athletes, whatever, not wanting to admit that they've got mental challenges. And we want people to be able to admit that like they would admit any other kind of problem. And this is why we want to spread the word on great shows like Liam's, where we're paying attention to maybe 19 topics, at the same time. Well, thanks, Liam.
That's what's amazing about you, Dr. Bob, because, some people get into a trade and they never change. Like they learn something at the beginning and never change. But it seems like you're evolving as the information evolves, and you're not afraid of new information. You're not afraid of new ideas. And like this thing that you
when I had the word I had these leading biohackers as guests just within the past few months. A few months ago, I had a Taoist specialist from the Netherlands, Taoist, the Tao Te Ching, talking about 2,500-year-old rules that were as pertinent today in the locker room or a business conference as they were 2,500 years ago. But when I had I never heard the word biohacking. And then we realized it's lifestyle medicine. It's paying attention to all these things we've been talking about. So yes, changing with the times, paying big attention. The problem is it's the Wild West. And you have shingles going up all over the place. Everybody's an expert. And we've got to be cautious with what we're believing and paying attention to. Again, whether we're talking about, you're talking about supplements, You're talking about sports drinks, and you know. Here's another interesting. United States is one of only 2 countries in the world. New Zealand's the other that allows prescription medicines on television. You can't watch 5 minutes without a prescription medicine commercial with a song or a diet commercial. So holistic natural medicine, you know, is still a big challenge. It used to be called alternative, which was part of the problem.
Alternative, right?
Yes, now we say it's complementary. So no one's going to argue about it. You know, holistic medicine, natural medicine, you want to pay attention, you want to include it.
Genetics.
And just like you said, Dr. Bobby, the pharmaceutical industry must be having difficulty
Big time.
with their,
Yes.
because they're going, you know, whoa, Ozempic,
yes,
you know, taking
exactly.
old songs and
Yes.
trying to.
And there are great medicines. And again, we're the leader in the world when it comes to whether it's the antibiotics and these other kinds with the vaccines. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a situation again with this misinformation. That's why you're seeing measles breaking out all over the place. This is why the military yesterday included, we've got to get flu shots. All of a sudden, when they said, we don't need these flu vaccines, you had, you know, hundreds and hundreds of flu problems, having to change these situations. So the idea of natural medicine is becoming very, very important. People need to take more responsibility for their own health and wellness, not becoming a zealot, you know, but we need to be paying much more attention to what we can pay attention to. That's why the new medicine makes so much sense, Liam. Keep it simple. Eat smarter. Keep moving. You got a million choices. And pay attention to stress. Rest and recovery is one of our biggest challenges. And that's why I have on hypnotists and psychologists and meditation specialists. We really can pay attention just to be quiet for 10 minutes a day and try to pay attention to just being you. Can help big time.
And if you want more of this enlightened, open perspective that's not just rooted in one specific thing, someone who has the courage to embrace new things, you can get to listen to Dr. Bob at www.sportsdoctorradio.com at Wednesdays between 3 and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Gentlemen, we've almost been on for an hour.
See ya.
How time flies when you're having fun.
Thank you very much. Dr. Bob,
Come on.
it's so
Great
good
to see you
my
guys.
friend.
Yes.
Hey, and enjoy your vacation.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well
really. I
deserved.
knew I was going to make time for you guys. Absolutely.
You did.
So I'm
bud.
glad I
And
was
you know
able
what?
to
I
fit
was-
it in. So thanks so much.
And I was so nervous
Very much.
for Dr. Bob bringing his bears and his
Right,
sports
yes.
legacy that I forgot. I forgot the chant, but I remember it now. So are we ready?
Brother Bear, shuffle
Okay.
through.
All right, here we go. Good, better, best. Repeat after me.
Good,
Good,
better,
better, best.
Good, better,
Never
best.
let it rest. Never let it rest.
Never let it rest.
Till your good gets better
Till your good gets better.
and your better gets best. Let's try it again.
better
You
gets
two,
best.
Don. All right? Okay, all together.
Pressure's
Good,
on
better,
you, Doc.
best.
Good, better,
Good,
best.
better, best.
Never let it rest.
Never let it
Never let
rest.
it rest.
Till your good gets better
Till
Till your good gets better
and your better gets best.
and your better gets
Better
best.
gets best. And by the way, I
Bears
like
on
the theme
three.
song.
1, 2, 3, Bears. All right.
Well, I
Hey,
want to
Cubs and
thank
White
you.
Sox
Oh,
and Bulls,
oh.
man. See ya.
Yes.
That's
Chicago
that's
Sky.
Ben Johnson's cheer. That's Ben Johnson's cheer. Every
All right, thanks everybody.
time they win some.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
I gotta get mine.
All
too. I
right,
gotta get this down.
stay on. Don't leave. I'm gonna play an outro. We're gonna end the broadcast, but you guys stay in the studio. All right.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta get
All right.
on.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's go!